1811 4000, यही कंज्यूमर हेल्पलाइन।
जागो ग्राहक जागो।
This is Face the Nation, broadcasting live from the CNN IBN headquarters in New Delhi with Sagarika Ghosh.
Welcome to you at the start of a brand new week, a week in which the UPA government is travelling economy class. Sonia Gandhi leads the UPA's austerity campaign. She flies to Mumbai on an Air India flight in economy class, but 5 rows of seats are given to security personnel and 3 SUVs are flown down to Mumbai at the cost of 3 lakhs. That brings us to my idea question of the day. Is the government's austerity drive simply not going beyond tokenism? Type QTD space Y for yes, QTD space N for no, SMS to 51818, and you can also vote online and express an opinion on IBNlive.com. Now, Face the Nation is coming to you live as well as online as well as on Twitter. You can follow us now on twitter.com. Do send in your tweets on twitter.com/face_the_nation. Tell us what you think about our question of the day. Is it meaningful, meaningless, silly or important? Do tweet and tell us. Joining us on the show tonight, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, MP and spokesperson of the Congress, Sriram Khanna, Managing Trustee, Consumer Voice, the voice of the Aam Aadmi, Chetan Seth, MD, the Shimon Group, the voice of the Khas Aadmi, I may say. And we'll hear from our guests in just a bit. But first, the top story on Face the Nation. The UPA government has decided to behave in a very poor way. Sonia Gandhi flew economy class today, but she saved only rupees 7,000, according to the calculations of CNN IBN's Maria Shakil.
What happens when a craze for austerity pushes one of the most guarded VIPs to the economy class of Delhi-Mumbai flight? 5 rows of seats are taken up because once out of business class, Sonia Gandhi's threat perception alters completely. And that's not all. 3 SUVs, each with a transportation fee of rupees 1 lakh, travel in the cargo hold of another plane. Her co-passengers deny being inconvenienced in any way.
There was nothing special. उनके अपने कुछ सिक्योरिटी गार्ड्स थे उनके साथ और कोई खास चाल पाल नहीं, कोई ऐसी हंगामे की स्थिति नहीं थी, सब कुछ बड़ा नॉर्मल था।
किसी को समझ में नहीं आया कि वो बैठी आगे।
The political symbolism apart, does the journey of the Congress chief really save money? The Congress says it doesn't matter.
Let's not restrict it to only travel. The issue is to tighten your belts, try to be careful, try to avoid extravagance.
But we at CNN IBN compared the costs of Sonia travelling business class with her economy flight. The total expense in business class from Delhi to Mumbai for Sonia and her security totals up to 62,000 rupees. And when she travels economy, which results in booking 15 seats and all, it comes to roughly 55,000. So what she saves in being austere is just rupees 7,000. The Congress may have to be careful. An overdose of austerity may be viewed as tokenism and may backfire.
Tokenism is not enough. It is important you perform and give relief to the people.
For Sonia Gandhi, there was little choice. As Congress president, she could not be travelling business class when ministers have begun flaunting their inexpensive habits. Today though, it's Sonia Gandhi who has won the austerity crown. With bureau inputs in New Delhi, Maria Shakil.
And Rahul Gandhi is all set to emulate his mother. Tomorrow he will be travelling by the Shatabdi Express from Delhi to Ludhiana. So he's taking the lead as well there in austerity. Let's give the national results now of our SMS poll. Is the government's austerity drive not going beyond tokenism? What are you telling us at the beginning of the show? 81% yes, big majority saying yes. Audience simply not convinced by the government's austere gestures. Let's get into Crossfire. Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, there is a saying called you're being penny wise and pound foolish. Isn't that exactly what you're being? You've saved, according to our calculations by Mrs. Sonia Gandhi travelling economy, just about 7,000 rupees. She's taken her security guard, she's taken her SUVs which have cost 3 lakhs. Now, is this just about political symbolism? Or is it about seriously rationalizing costs? Because if it's about rationalizing costs, it may not serve the purpose to get leaders to travel by economy class.
I think the point is being missed altogether, Sagarika. It's about reminding the people, yes, it is about symbolism, it is about sending a message, it's reminding people about Gandhi, the simplicity movement, Khadi, Charkha. It is reminding that it's not a question of travel, it's not a question of counting business class minus economy class net saving 7,000. It's to try to propagate a way of life during times of drought. It's as simple as that. It's not to do with hotel stay or travel alone. It's trying to propagate that where you can be simple between two choices, choose the simpler, cheaper option. Now even if you multiply for the sake of your pennies and pounds, the more banal part of it, multiply the 7,000s by across the board, every bureaucrat, every politician, every public figure doing it, imagine the saving. So if you ingrain it and imbibe it as a way of life, as a message, Sonia Gandhi's simplicity doesn't have to be demonstrated by a travel in the airline. By the way, let me tell you one thing, Sagarika. Sonia Gandhi is not a good example because there are certain security compulsions which even she can't get rid of. Even if she orders her SPG to get out, they can't. But the point is sending a message. If a lot of us without the same security paraphernalia were to adopt simpler modes of life, and I'm not talking of travel or stay alone.
But you know, the question
I'm talking of
is
big
arising.
ostentatious parties.
But the question is
I'm
arising.
talking of big splashes.
Right.
And I'm talking of other things. Yes.
But you know, to say that morality is contained in plain travel, that morality is contained in parties, that morality is contained in how you choose to live your life, is this actually really trying to set the clock backwards? What the government should do, if it really wants to cut spending, is maybe downsize government, maybe actually take steps in creating a charter of entitlements instead of saying that it's moral for you to travel by economy class.
I agree with you. I think that this whole morality thing we have in this country, you know, India is changing, India is moving ahead. Can you imagine that if we are on a trip going abroad, our ministers are arriving from economy class into a country, what is the image he's giving to the country? I mean, you know, I always say our ministers should be like the chief executive officers of companies. And they're very bright people, they're working hard, they're serving the nation. What is the business class? You know, I mean, I think this is absolutely rubbish.
So they should travel by business class?
They should. They should travel first class. Why should they not travel first class? What do they get? I mean, I understand serving the nation. The symbolism part is important. You know, right now we're in drought, but I think we should cut down on all aspects of expenditure. And you can, like we were talking earlier, that the American embassy, for example, they get the cheapest rates for hotels anywhere in the world.
Right.
You know, they call for a tender and they call for this. I mean, right now, if they want to, they can go to any airline and they can get business class tickets at economy for ministers. No problem. Every airline will give it to them.
So is this a kind of, is this sort of humbug really? Collective exercise and humbug saying, you know, we are all going to be moral by not traveling economy class and yet by not traveling business, but at the same time, these huge costs.
I love to travel in business class, but I can't afford it because the Indian airlines provide business class tickets at 4 times the price of the economy class. But there's one exception. There's one airline that gives you a business class at only 1,000 rupees upgrade. Now,
so these are all overpriced services?
They are overpriced services, and our regulation and our civil aviation administration has failed. They are giving the free rein to the Malyas and others to make money out of people without providing service. So if the US government can buy business class tickets for their bureaucrats and secretaries of state around the world at economy prices, why can't government of India?
So basically, it's the prices. These are just very overpriced services, and they should not be even priced at the level that they're priced at.
But these services are based on market economies. You know, either we go back to a state where the government does everything and does everything. This is market economy. They provide a service. You can't afford. You can't go. Please don't go.
Listen.
But you believe it's a matter of perception.
Listen,
the politicians are leaders of Aam Aadmi.
Listen. Aam Aadmi leaders have to understand how to make the market work for the inclusive development for the poor people and for those who don't have money to throw around. And one of the principles of market economy is competition. And tendering is a part of the competitive systems. Why doesn't the government of India ask for tenders from all the airlines? We want business class. Everybody above additional secretary is allowed to travel business class. That includes the minister. So when you're talking about 5 ministers, it's bullshit. What about the 200 additional secretaries who are traveling business class?
Exactly, that's the point, Abhishek Manu Singhvi. You know, unless you downsize government, unless you make a systematic charter of entitlements, who is entitled to what, how many times they can travel economy, how many times they can travel business, why make it all contingent on personal morality, on the Gandhian notion of politics? You know, all that seems to be a little bit, you know, it's a little bit flimsy, a little bit weak. Why locate morality in these questions? It should just be systematized. Cost should be systematized.
Two things, Sagarika. I don't know who has brought morality into it.
You have.
I think it's only you and your program which has brought morality.
No, you have. You mentioned the Gandhian
Nobody
example.
Used the word. No. No. I am saying this is to remind you of simplicity in life. There's no question of morality. There's no morality in this. We are not preaching sermons on morality. We are telling you
that's exactly what you're doing.
Alternative, simpler way. 1 minute. No, let me complete now. You don't allow me to complete. First of all, morality debate only you started since the last question. I didn't go into the morals of it at all. It's not immoral to travel in business class, for God's sake. Number two, and more important, who has said that there's no downsizing of government? This whole move has started with an overall downsizing of government. We've had now big delegations, parliamentary delegations, ministerial delegations going abroad who have even cancelled their trips.
Well, why not?
We have question marks raised even on the Chief of India. Well, that's what is happening now. Who is telling you that 200 additional secretaries can travel business class? That's the whole point. Unless the leaders at the top set the example, you can't implement it down the line. And every part of the government, even public sectors are voluntarily exhorted to do so. They are doing so, and let me tell you, even if you miss the wood for the trees and look at the pennies only, if you add up all those government departments, comes to a lot, and that's happening.
But the premium on simplicity that is being placed here, on simple living and simplicity, is this an anachronism in today's times? How can, I mean, the Congress party consists of crorpatis, there is jamindars and jagirdars. How can you tell them don't spend here, don't spend here? Is this completely an anachronism actually?
This is the problem of being in politics in India, you know, that you have to have this double game all the time. You wear your khadi here, and you wear your tweed jackets when you go out.
And then you drink your champagne elsewhere.
And there are lots of people who don't do, I mean, who are actually...
But you're saying that's okay.
I'm not saying
okay. There's no problem with that.
I think it's terrible. I think it is a terrible thing that our people are forced to behave like that. Suddenly you are a multi-millionaire, you join politics, you start wearing khadi because you got to prove to the people that now I'm with you and this, that. I think it has to change. The people also think it's funny.
Isn't that a bit phony? I mean, you are someone who's worth 70 plus crores and yet you act like Daridra Narayan.
Listen, it's about double standards. Khane ke aur, dikhane ke aur. You are trying to appear to be something you are not, and that's for the camera, and that's for the television, that's for whatever. The real story is, if you were intelligent, you will save money for millions of people by better governance, by allocating money more efficiently, by making sure there is no waste.
Yeah.
One installment of DA costs more than 2,000 crores. If they can control the consumer price index, they can save 500 crores, and if they can do that, I will give my hats off to any minister who travels business class anywhere in the world. I have no problems.
That's the key point actually. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, this personal act of tyag, the personal act of a gesture, it doesn't have to be that. What it actually has to be is governance, getting rid of corruption, getting rid of these huge 78-member council of ministers. It could easily come down to much less. That's the crucial thing, instead of these flamboyant acts of personal piety.
I think the equations are being drawn completely wrongly. There is no question that if you have an austerity drive, it means that you should not go after corruption, you should not do good governance, you should not decrease the CPI. Why are the two being argued today as mutually exclusive? You are now discussing policy one. You are now decrying and criticizing policy one on the ground. No. Well, who said, are you saying that UPA is doing austerity drive with bad governance?
The UPA is focusing...
I thought we did...
The UPA is focusing austerity on personal politics, not on governance.
Such bad governance. If we were doing such bad governance, at least the people who matter, who elect us, would not be electing us time and again.
Okay, let's hold your
Yes,
thought.
the point is you are mixing up austerity with other policy issues. The fact that I am trying to have austerity policy doesn't mean that I am not doing the other things as well which you are talking about.
But you are
There is
doing
no
that.
connection between the two.
But aren't you doing that? Isn't the government
Doing
doing
what?
that? Confusing personal austerity with actually with governance, with downsizing governance.
Not
But
at all.
let's hold your thought.
I'm criticizing what you've just said.
Okay,
I'm
hold your thought.
criticizing that you are saying that austerity policy is bad because you should not be doing austerity but doing other things. I'm saying both are not mutually exclusive. You can do austerity as well as do the other things you're talking about.
No, we're talking
There's
about
no
personal
contradiction between the
austerity
two. And
versus
secondly,
governmental austerity.
There is both. The point is that
Okay,
the two are not
well, let's
mutually
take a
exclusive.
short break and come back
That's
with
the
lots
error
more.
you're making.
Let's come back with lots more after this tiny break. Welcome back to Face the Nation, where we're asking the question, is the government's austerity drive failing to go beyond tokenism? Carry on with your voting and we'll carry on with our discussion. In fact, we're going to now read out a live blog which has just come in to us from Dr. Rajagopalan. He's our viewer and he's written to us. He's just been sending us that feedback. This is hypocrisy of the highest order which is prevailing in India, especially in the political class. If they're really serious about saving money, why do they have this jumbo cabinet? Now that is a very good point, and we'll put that to Abhishek Manu Singh in just a little while. We have a 78-member council of ministers. Shouldn't some ministries actually be shut down if the government really wants to rationalize costs? How should a politician appear in a country of the poor? Should he not have any compunctions about appearing as a rich man who travels by Mercedes-Benz, travels by business class? Is there nothing wrong if a politician in India is a rich man and doesn't have any problems with showing that he's rich?
The rich man is entitled to be a public leader and a politician. And
But they're all rich.
Yeah, they're all, you can't be poor and get elected to parliament. Let's be very clear about it. Okay, the amount of money that you have to invest. Okay, now there's a difference between people who have invested money to get returns or people who invested money to public service. Now you will find 1 out of 10 politicians who've got the support of the people and they have taken people's money and invested for public service. They will all be traveling economy class. Their lifestyles will be austere even if they are personally rich. The reason
so
is,
if you're personally rich, Chetan said your lifestyle has to be austere. Has to be.
I don't agree with this. I think that, why should we have to do this? It's the old theory about if you're trying to bring the people up, you don't have to pull yourself down. You lead a lifestyle, it shouldn't be extravagant, it should not be in the face, hitting somebody. But when you look at a lot of these politicians, they're going the other way around. They're going from living in beautiful homes, beautiful this thing, traveling all over the world, doing everything else, and when it comes to back home, bilkul seedha sadha. So my point is that is hypocrisy in my opinion.
You're shaking your head.
No,
in my opinion, they don't need to do that.
I don't agree with him because there's a minister. And let me tell you, every union ministry has at least 1,000 to 3,000 people working under him. One minister has to set an example to 3,000 people. There's a secretary, additional secretary, joint secretaries, deputy secretaries, directors, section officers, clerks, all the way down. If he cannot motivate his ministry by personal example.
So the ideal in India should still be an austere public figure. That's
I'm not
the
saying
ideal.
austere. If you can afford to be luxurious, if you have a surplus budget, you have budgets overflowing, everybody has got food, clothing and shelter,
Then
and
you
you want to
can.
spend some money, go ahead.
But you can't do it now in India at the moment as it exists
You
in
have a
India
drought,
today.
your people dying of hunger. You have 150 districts of Naxalite activity, you have secessionist movements, you have terrorism. Who can even think of,
So
wasting money?
is that very heartless then? Is that lacking a social conscience if you come across as a rich man in a country like India?
I mean, you're rich, what do you do about it? I mean, are you going to hide yourself or are you going to not get motivated? I mean, this whole thing about business coming up front in this and running the economy is motivated by money. What are you going to do with all the
while
money?
the talk of austerity was going on in the New Delhi newspapers, if you read the columns of one of the newspapers, it gave you what food is available in New Delhi. Half a dozen restaurants, and they are featuring restaurants that you have to pay for 3,000 to 4,000 rupees or for a meal for two. Where is austerity? This is shameless extravagance. People
and
have money.
politicians should avoid it.
No, at least those who want to lead by example, those who are the leaders of the society. I don't think CEOs are leaders of society. I think there are people who are greedy people, whose only mission in life is to make money, look at their balance sheets, screw the workers and make money and save taxes. That's all they have in their mission.
You know,
you name one CEO who is austere. They're all driving in Mercedes.
Do you want to...
You know, that's not true, sir. You know, the thing is
Sir, you may be an exception. I don't know about you.
I'm not.
Listen.
No.
There are so many CEOs
lots of
who are socially irresponsible.
There are so many of everything, you know, but I think
listen,
to say
CEOs,
that industry and economy
CEOs are
doesn't,
listen,
you know, you have to give. I mean,
CEOs of the corporate sector are only serving themselves. Their only goddess is Lakshmi. And they are screwing people left, right,
lot
and
of
center.
social responsibility being taken off by the industry. Industry is what is driving
It's
this
only
country.
lip service.
So that's
It's only lip service. Don't pretend to tell me in this country that industry is like social service.
It used to be. It
used to be, but not today.
No, it used
not
to be when they
today.
were
Not today.
everybody.
But Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, let me get you in here as a politician. I mean, Mayawati is, you know, arguably the foremost icon of the poor. Yet she doesn't make any bones about the fact that she holds press conferences in 5-star hotels. She wears jewelry. She doesn't see any contradiction there.
Let's get a few concepts clear, Sagarika. Otherwise, this debate will go all over the place. Number one, how you behave in life personally can't be legislated by law. I can't make a law saying you shall wear this, do this, be austere in this way. These are all exhortations and enthusing people by example. Number two, just for your information, for a country the size of India and the population of India, we have one of the smallest cabinets in the world. We have a constitutional amendment which limits our central cabinets and state cabinets to 15%.
Right.
In fact, there is scope for much more. And you cannot have a smaller cabinet. Proportionately, countries have much larger cabinets. Number three, I think this whole argument about rich and simplicity is completely skewed and confused. There is no contradiction between being rich and being simple. That's the error you are making. If your wealth is earned and not cheated or not corruptly acquired,
right.
if you are wealthy and earned it from blood, sweat and tears, well, Warren Buffett is one of the most simple people.
Right.
Azim Premji travels economy class for the last 20 years. Why do you assume that there's a contradiction between being rich
Okay, so
and
there's
simple?
no contradiction.
But obviously, if a rich man wants to be squandering his wealth, he can do it.
But
There's
the
no law
point is,
against it either. Nor am I saying, is it immoral?
Okay, but the point is, Mr.
Point
Abhishek
is
Manu Singhvi,
that there's not immorality. It's setting an example in a country not only poor but also at the moment afflicted by drought. So you do not have splashy, ostentatious living. If you want to do it, please go ahead.
But then as Chetan Seth is saying, aren't you being an apologist for dishonesty? Aren't you therefore saying that if you're a rich man, and most politicians are rich,
absolutely,
are actually, no, you have to pretend that you're not rich. You have to pretend, you have to play a double game. So you're saying absolutely. So is hypocrisy essential in public life then?
No, 1 minute. No. I am saying, let me complete please.
No, we have to.
I am not holding a brief for anyone. I am not holding a brief for anyone who is on the face of it trying to be austere and inside is doing all corrupt deals and squandering money and having a luxurious life. That's hypocrisy. Nobody's saying that.
Okay, but you're saying simplicity.
It will show unless you try to be simple generally. Yes.
Okay, well, Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, Chetan Seth, Sriram Khanna, thanks very much indeed for joining us. What are you telling us? What's your verdict at the end of the show? Is the UPA government's austerity drive not going beyond tokenism? In fact, 82% are saying yes. Big majority completely disillusioned with the UPA's austerity drive. Thanks for watching. Face the Nation.